What's happening, Ronin man? We're out here with chime time.
Hey, it's chime time.
We're cruising around. We're on top of the mountain. We just we're near Albuquerque, and we're on the top of this particular peak. But there's actually another peak, which hopefully we're going to get up to tomorrow. I'll show it to you if I can. Let's see. Can you see the rocks? Yeah, right there. Up there. We want to go up there. We're actually pretty high up right now. It's like not hot. It's cool. Cool breeze coming up here, and it's baking hot down in Albuquerque. But today we're talking about, Chime Time was just saying like ghosting, right? Ghosting. So what was the...
Yeah, like ghosting is basically what happens... Oh, you want me to hold it?
No, I just want to get in.
Oh, yeah. So ghosting is what happens when like a girl just ditches out. Like she's talking to you, whether you're in a relationship or not with her. Maybe you found her on a dating website. Maybe you met her in passing, like, and you're texting. You have a texting relationship, because that is a real relationship. Oh yeah. Well, we should walk and talk.
Yeah, but you got to be near your you're saying your question.
Yeah. So like, and then the fallout. Like, how do you deal and mitigate your emotions and feelings with like, oh, I got ghosted. Like, am I angry? Like, am I sad? Like, that sense of mystery, and it's like kind of disturbing. Like, there's kind of like a disturbing feeling. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, questioning yourself, questioning the situation, questioning all women or society, and then that's not a good thing either.
Right.
There's like a lot of challenges that get presented after the ghosting happens as a result of the ghosting. So that's kind of what I wanted to ask to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, we were talking yesterday to Abe, right? And Abe is from a wandering tribe in the Middle East. And I forget the name, but he's putting us up. We're having a fucking great time with him. By the way, he's like being the most awesome host. Like, we're sitting here drinking. We're sitting on these, like, on the floor drinking these little things of coffee with
like cardamom tea, cardamom coffee.
Cardamom coffee, and it's like the house, the floor is like painted red, and it's like you feel like you're in another country.
We're on carpets, small cushions.
Yeah.
We're eating like dried berries.
Middle Eastern sweets. Yeah. And he wears different clothes and everything. It's like really fucking great. Like, he's being so open and so cool. Like, when we came in, I was like he was just like so welcoming. I was like, man. And I think that's part of his tribe, and the traditions, right? He welcomes us in as one of the inside, right? It's really a great feeling. But anyway, he was saying, and I recorded an episode, but I didn't put it online because I just didn't feel it was perfect. And it's definitely related to this, right? And you had to get your phone call, so you missed like the call anyway. So let's talk about ghosting, right? So he was asking me, Abe was asking me, he said, what do you, basically his wife, they broke up, and then basically she ghosted him after that. But more importantly, all of her friends ghosted him. And he was saying, why did they do that? Like, why do people ghost? And it's actually a pretty good episode. I might upload it anyway as a supplement to this one. But what was interesting about it was he kept like throwing questions at me, but he really wanted to know the answer. So every time that I answered something that was not exactly his situation, he would say, no, well, it was a little different. Like, actually, she didn't do that. She did this, right? And so as you listen to the answers, they're all good answers, but they're for different situations. And I realized at the end, the problem was not what we were talking about. And this is often the way it is with men. When we have a problem, we think, we kind of start at the wrong question in a way. It takes time to get down to the real question, right? What's the real question? So as we went through it, he was saying, well, why do people ghost? Like, why would they do that? I was nice to them. They were nice to me. Nothing went bad. Even the girl herself was cool. She wasn't abusive anyway. But they all ghosted him, and he was like, what the fuck, right? He's like, here it is years later, and he's like, why did they ghost me? And I was going through all the reasons why, things like society doesn't trust single men as much, and once you're out of a couple, you're no longer part of a couple. You're a different thing. People don't invite you to dinner as much. Things change, right? And that's true, right? That's an issue. The problem is that wasn't really the issue here, because I realized after we went through like 20 of these different things that could have been the reason why they ghosted him, I realized what the real problem was. It actually had nothing to do with ghosting. It had nothing to do with the reason why they ghosted him. The real issue was, this happened years ago, and he was still very hurt by it. And the issue was not why did they do it. The issue was, I still feel terrible. Something happened years ago, and I'm not over it, and I don't understand why. So this is what happens to a lot of guys. They have things happen, and they say, oh, I'm fine. No big deal. I got over this one. I'm good. And I'm talking about good guys. I'm not talking about guys who are, totally full of it. Like they feel like, okay, bad thing happened. I'm over it. The problem with bad things is sometimes you're not over it. And you're like kind of mulling on it for years and years and years, right? So when people ghost you, you have a very strong desire to find out why they ghosted you. Because that's called getting closure. So what you want to do is when you get ghosted, you have a very, very strong desire to find out the reason why, and you want closure. You want them to tell you. You want them to say, "Hey, the reason why I did this is because this," and then you're like, "Oh, okay, I didn't mean that, but okay," that kind of thing, right? Or like, "Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I didn't, I made a mistake, right? I was wrong. I was definitely wrong, and I'm sorry about that." And you're able to get closure. You're able to find out the reason why something happened and get some logical things behind it. And that closure itself will help you to get over it. But the problem is, with ghosting, is there is no closure. You're not getting closure, right? Closure is not happening. And you say, well, I don't need closure. Fuck that, But the problem is, often with these kind of things, is they hang around for years and years and years. So your mind is going to be telling you why. But what you need to start thinking, you got to say, wait a second. I think this is one of those situations Ronin Man's talking about, where there never will be a why. You're never going to find out why. You just will never find out. So what do you do? Well, where do you start? Instead of endlessly searching for the why, at this point, when you're not getting closure, okay, from somebody, like period, you're never going to find out the reason. You're never going to find out what you did wrong. You're never going to find out what they were thinking. You're never going to get that. The thing you have to do at that point is you got to say to yourself, okay, what do I know? Okay, I know that as dumb as this situation is, I'm having a fucking hard time about this. And I keep ruminating, and this thing keeps coming up in my mind. So where you win on this one, where you kind of start to solve it, is when you say, as dumb as this situation is, as stupid as this is, as I didn't even care about this girl that much, or that friend or whatever, it wasn't that big a deal. I only knew them for 3 months. But then you're having this fucking feeling, right? So that's when you got to say to yourself, okay, I have a problem here. Like, this is not going away, right? I feel sad. I feel bad. And take your feelings seriously. This is where you start to solve something like this. You don't start by endlessly looking for closure, because there's a point where even if they give you the reason, it's not enough. Because you've been in so much pain over this that it's kind of like you're in a totally different mindset now, right? Like, it's almost like what caused the wound won't fix it anymore. Because now you're just feeling sad, or you're feeling upset. You know what I mean? Like, the logical reason why now, because I think this is what it is. The reason why it doesn't solve it is because you feel really bad. and the reason is not that good. Like, it's not that big. So you're like, wait a second, how could I feel this bad over something this small? And in fact, it could be something very small. Like, some people don't have communication ability. They're not good at speaking. So whenever they have a problem with people, they just ghost them. That's what they do. Like, that's their MO. It's like, I don't know what to say. I feel bad. I made a mistake. I'm angry, whatever. And then they just say, okay, well, ghost. And that's probably something they learned in their family, or, that's something they've done before. Now, the problem is they leave behind them a lot of people wondering, right? a lot of people often ruminating and wondering and like looking for answers. Now, a very bad person will know that and will string you along, not give you an answer. You know, where they know you're wondering why. Why the fuck did this happen? Like, why? And then once, like I said, once you figure it out, that doesn't solve it either, because now that you've kind of gone into this, like, you know, this thing's been hanging around for 6 months or something, or a year, maybe it's even 10 or 20 years ago, something bothered you. I have something that I remember from 1984 that's bothered me to this day. I just thought of it. I had a friend in high school. He was our youth minister, and at the church, and after I turned away, you know, from religion, he ghosted me. He never talked to me again. I mean, I see him on Facebook. I know his sister. He won't fucking since that day. I don't know why. And it's always bothered me because we were really close. Like, we were fucking really close. We traveled together. We did things, or he wrote songs. They did, you know, all kinds of shit. We were like inseparable. You know, I'd hang out at his house. He was always just a good, honest guy. He never did anything weird. He was fucking awesome, you know. Good friend. Athletic, funny. He kind of was fun to hang around with, smart. But he fucking ghosted me, and it's bothered me to this day. So I got to use this, I guess, thinking or procedure on myself too, because the problem with the pain from being ghosted is that sometimes you don't even know you have it. Like, sometimes, like, your best friend's the only one that knows. Like, you know how that is sometimes? You'll be talking about something and you'll say, oh, that was no big deal, or she was that, or he was that. And then your friend's like, says to your other friend, like, he's all fucked up about that. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm fine. And he's not lying either. He literally does not know that he's fucked up about it. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, it's not logical. It's been going on for years. And you're like, why am I still fucking bothered by this stupid thing? Like, what the fuck, right? So you start with your feelings on this one. You start with understanding that you are in pain and you are sad. So it's these type of situations where you need to kind of get serious about it, because these sad feelings, these angry feelings, or sad, or a feeling of loss, or just wondering, they're pretty tricky, right? They don't go away. I believe, like, when I die, you know, I'll probably still be wondering what happened with him. Like, why didn't Tom send me a message? It'll still be like, it's this type of thing. It's not logical, right? So I would say to take again, I'm talking about your reaction to it, okay? 100,000 people could leave your life, fire you from a job, never show up again, and it doesn't bother you at all. So it's not about the thing. It's about your reaction to the thing. That's what you have to pay attention to. And you have to realize that it ain't about the thing, because if you say logically, the thing doesn't make sense, right? Because like, you have all kinds of friends do this. You know, this happens all the time, and that's why it's so hard to trick you, because your friends will say, well, just do this, right? And the problem is your friends are not thinking, like, this is one of these things. This is one of these things that is like, could even be like a long-term pain, right? A long-term, you know, waste of energy, really, you know? And like, it's embarrassing. Like, as a guy, you're like, why does this bother me? Like, this is so stupid. I think it's kind of a hallmark of these things, is that your mind is like, this is stupid. I only knew this girl for 3 months, like, you know, or 4 months. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why, you know, or like, you know, you tell it to somebody and they'll be like, oh, I had a friend like that, and I had a friend like that, and oh yeah, he said this, and listen to this fucking poem, and watch a fucking YouTube video, and you're like, secretly, you stop asking people, because you realize, not only is it not getting better, it's almost getting worse. Like, you're like, and the more you ask people, you kind of get false hope, and you realize, okay, now I got, it's one of my secrets. That's what it kind of becomes. It's like this secret pain, you know, over some just idiotic thing that your brain is like, why? And I think guys are like really bad at this one, because we do not take our own life seriously. You know, we're like, oh, we want to help everybody else out, make sure everybody's okay, you know, get this done, get that done, and then we're like, our own inner soul, you know, we're like, oh yeah, we'll be fine. Like, I'm tough. Like, you are tough. You know, you are fucking tough. That's not the point. The point's not that you're not tough. The point is not that you get over this thing like in 2 seconds with other people. The point is that you ain't getting over this one. And there's very few people to talk about it. You can talk about it with. And I kind of recommend not talking about it, actually. Because when you talk about it, you're going to get this stupid advice. So I recommend a couple things. One is, if you have an iPhone, there's like a little audio recorder. I don't know what the Android has, but that's a beautiful view. That's Albuquerque down there. Fucking A. Oh, man. Albuquerque's cool, man. It's a cool place. But so the first thing is get your audio recorder, right? And then just walk around and just tell the story to yourself. So start to be your own counselor on this one. Because it's kind of painful to keep telling people and then no one helps you. You know what I mean? No one gets it. So realize that you are your own best counselor. Period. Nobody's better, especially with this embarrassing stuff. Like nobody knows you like you. And you can be super honest with yourself because no one else is going to listen to this. So what I'll do is I'll record kind of like a Ronin man, but it's for myself. I record these probably every 2 days. I'll record a Ronin man for myself. And I talk about stuff and I realize that it's much better because when I talk to somebody else about it, it's like they usually don't have the answer. And it's kind of a heavy thing. And then like if they're a good friend of mine, oh, that's beautiful. They want to help, right? They're like, and then they're like, oh man, I want to help. But then they try to help, but it doesn't make it any better. It kind of makes it worse if you have a really sincere friend who's really fucking trying to help, right? Because they're really trying, and they're trying, right? It would be like if you were really sick and like someone's praying for you, and you just feel worse and worse, and you feel bad because you're like, I should get better because they're trying to help me, but I feel worse. It makes you. Yeah, I heard this is a real thing actually. So the thing is, this one you can help yourself. So go ahead and start to record audio talking about it as if you are your own counselor, and you can describe this thing super, super honestly because you know all the details, so you can do it in short form too. You're like, oh yeah, that guy over there, and you're like, oh, you remember who that guy is, right? You don't have to say like Bob Jones, the guy over, you can do shortcuts for everything because you don't do too many shortcuts where you forget your own. I'm gonna get into the shade because I want to get, that's a beautiful view there. But you don't want to get it to the point where you are forgetting what you write. Like my handwriting's so bad sometimes I can't even read my own handwriting, right? You don't want that. You want to be able to read your own handwriting on this one. So but at the same time you can do massive shortcuts and then just tell how you feel. Just say, I don't know why I feel this way, it's so stupid, this is fucking ridiculous, I shouldn't feel this way, I didn't above this, and this guy, I've already dealt with this, and fuck, it's still fucking bothering me, I don't know why. Why? You can talk like that, right? Just be super honest with yourself. And then when you're done, you can listen to it again. And you can say anything because nobody's listening. You know what I mean? So you can talk any kind of fantasy you have or something you're really angry about, whatever it is, you can just say it. No one's going to hear. It's only you. And that is a very good feeling. Because usually when you ask for questions, you don't realize it, but you're kind of like, you're censoring yourself, right? You're like, I better not say something too bad because then he'll think this. And when you're your own counselor, you can get raw as you want, and it actually feels good. And the other thing is, go somewhere where no one's listening so that you can really you can just be like, you can talk like the way you should use it. Like, fuck, fuck, why the fuck am I still, damn it, it just makes no fucking sense. It's fucking stupid. Like, I feel like an idiot, like that kind of stuff. You can talk like that to yourself. Whereas like you can't talk to your friend like that, because he won't understand, right? So that's there's a lot of advantages talking to yourself on this and counseling yourself. And then you record something. When you finish it, when you're alone, put it on low volume and listen to it. And then maybe if you still feel like it's still kind of like bothering you a little bit, your second audio is going to be a little bit different because you're going to be over a lot of the stuff that you were over in the first one. And then you'll start to figure it out. You'll be like, what often happens is you'll figure the whole thing out and you'll be like what often happens to me is I often figure out, like, literally, I'm not kidding, a lot of times I find out that I'm like way better off that they didn't do this or that I thought they should have done. Like, it's often like that. In other words, what I'm saying is you get a totally different a completely different map of the territory than you had before you started this, right? Because you're honestly trying to figure it out, and there's nobody listening, and it's only you. So be honest with yourself, record stuff, listen to it again. I don't like writing for this one because I think your emotion is important, and that comes through in your voice. So I think recording audio and listening to it again. And then if you find it's helpful, then the next time that you feel something that you just kind of instinctively know other people are not going to quite get, don't beat yourself up and keep telling people that won't get it. And don't beat them up either. Like, you should help me, I help you. Like, no. Some people just don't have the bandwidth for this. Fine. You do. You have the bandwidth. You have the bandwidth for this one. So take yourself seriously. Take your feelings seriously. Take this private. Take this one offline and do it yourself. And you'll be amazed what a good counselor you are for yourself, because you're the only one who really cares about yourself. You care. You care about how you were when you were younger. You care about little things that you care about, right? Nobody else notices them. They just go about their business, right? But you actually care, and you can actually fix those things that maybe are illogical, but they're just serious for you. And if you do this kind of thing, then your life just gets a lot easier, because you won't have all these dark sides and all this crap in your mind. And also, you won't have anybody who knows your secrets either. Because with some of this stuff, it is kind of good not to tell somebody. It's not that you have any kind of major secret or anything. It's just that I don't know. It's a nice feeling. Like, I've had people I've told secrets to and they've screwed me over, And, or sometimes you tell people a story and they have a different view of you later. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. I'm just trying to solve the fucking problem. I'm trying to get gas in the car. I'm trying to get up the mountain. I'm trying to get to sleep. I'm trying to get 8 hours. I'm trying to save $100. I'm trying to do something, right? And I'm trying to, solve this unsolvable thing, And you are your own best therapist. I'm telling you right now. For this stuff. For other stuff, often you're not. Because the reason why this stuff is hanging around is because you've already told everybody about it. You already fucking told your best friend. You already told your sister. You already told everybody. You told your whatever girl you have or whatever. And you've already read everything. So there is nothing else logical. There's nothing else anybody can give you on this one. Right? That's the situation where you do it for yourself. And also the one where you don't want anyone to know. So no matter how hardcore the reality of this situation is, no matter how embarrassing it was, or something you did when you were younger that's illegal or whatever, it's like, doesn't matter. You can talk to yourself on this one. You can fix this one yourself. Because what happens is if you don't fix it, this stuff is fucking serious. And it can cause you to sabotage yourself. And you don't want that. And you don't need that. Try it out. Comment below and let me know what you think. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, real quick. Sometimes there's room for gratitude and thankfulness. And when you resolve these things, there's something to be thankful about. And for example, what Ronin was saying about thinking it over and realizing that maybe that situation you're in wasn't even that great, and you can
it's a whole new map.
Yeah.
When you do it the way I'm saying, you're going to come out of it and realize here's what it often is for me. I often realize I was wrong. Like, that happens a lot, where I'll be like, holy shit. Like, I'm serious, because that's the thing about life, is that we're not perfect, right? So I like, a lot of times I'll actually like think I'll be like, seriously, I'll be so angry about something, like it'll be really upsetting me, and then when I actually am really honest, there's nobody else listening, and I tell the truth, it's easier for me to change when no one's listening, because I don't have a horse in the race.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. And so what I often find out is like, oh my God, like I'm not kidding, not joking, like I actually figure out insanely deep things that I would have never ever realized before if I didn't do this. I actually realize this happens, like, I'm telling you, like maybe 30 or 40% of the time. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I did this thing, and that's why he did that. That's actually why he probably, and I can totally understand that. I did that thing first. Oh my God. All these years I've been hating on this guy, hating on not having closure, and I was the one who was fucking wrong. You never, it's like this is like serious revelation. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to do this more often, because your mind is like, the reason why you have these problems, you're like, because somebody fucked you over, basically. That's what your mind's telling you. But often you're the one who fucked somebody over. And when you're alone, it's easier to admit that. It's easier to change.
And sometimes you don't, like, thinking of that you fucked someone over is kind of
I mean, not really fuck somebody over, but yeah.
Sometimes it's a harsh way to even treat yourself, even though it's just you and your own company, and the only person putting pressure on yourself. Sometimes, like, you don't even want that pressure. You could tell yourself, like, not make excuses. We're not making excuses for ourselves, but you just weren't at that stage of your life that was needed for that relationship to work. And sometimes
you weren't ready for it.
The people that ghost you have their own shortcomings, and recognizing who you are and those things about yourself, and then recognizing those other people, and then it kind of paints a picture of what the situation was, and it's way more relieving when you know, and that gives closure.
Right. And you know, I was just on this thing of, I'm just realizing I've done this and I've been wrong, and I'm just realizing the heaviness of that. Because one, I had a huge resentment against somebody for a long time. And then when I finally realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. Like, and then it lets all the anger go for myself, right? And it helps me to change. It helps me to it helps me the next time not to get into this thing. And I'm going to add this in the end. I think, I'm just guessing here, this is just talking for myself, times I've done this, I think that the reason why something is so hard for me is usually because I did something wrong. Because if you fuck me over, it's not going to bother me that much. Because it's like, oh, somebody did something bad, mean. Oh well, you know, that's not me. The things that hurt you the most is when you let yourself down. Those are the things that you just get real resentful. And that's one of the reasons why you could get real, like, he did this, he did this, he did this. You know, it's because secretly, you know, like, you let yourself down. So I think that is more common than I would actually have expected when I started this. But no, it's true. Often I was part of it at some level. And again, the other person's not hearing it because they're ghosting anyway. And you're the only one benefiting from this incredible reevaluation of this thing that's holding you back. And that is a valuable thing. All right, we're heading off to Austin here soon. Albuquerque, you've been fucking awesome. Probably tomorrow, maybe the next day. And we'll be in Austin. I'm going to do a one-day event. Probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Figure about 3 days from now. So what day is today? Today's Saturday?
Today's Saturday.
Today's Saturday. So probably Saturday, Sunday, Monday. About Monday. Now I know there's somebody who wanted to come, but they work full time and they can't come on weekdays. And let's see what we can do about that. But practicality wise, I don't know how we could do it on Sunday.
Lunch break.
Yeah, it's going to be Monday or Tuesday even.
Mornings.
Tuesday.
Before work, after work. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure something out. All right, guys. I hope that was helpful. And we're going to hike down and get Ray, and we're going to fucking get on the road. Well, we're going to get some burritos. We're going to get some fucking tasty burritos. We just got some great advice from two cutie pies that were hiking up there.
Yeah, they were cute.
They were fucking sweet, right? They gave us all the burrito information we needed to live another day. To survive in this harsh environment on Earth. I need Mexican food. If I'm here, I need Mexican food. That's the way it is. Chocolate and Mexican food and coffee. That shit has to go down all the time. All right, guys, take it easy. Thanks for listening.